Welcome to Connecting the Dots with Mikki and Baron.
Our fourth. Yay.
Kicking Cancer episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us and doing all this.
It's exciting.
You've got one of my favorite books in front of you.
Oh, so you're familiar with this book?
I'm familiar with Chris Beats Cancer.
Okay. Well,
before we get started,
Yes.
I have an ask. We love doing this. I feel like my mission in life is to educate and support people, but we can't do it without your help. So like and subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to donate or learn more about Kicking Cancer, go to kicking-cancer.org, and that will take you to our main website. There's tab on there to donate now, or you can learn more about who we are and what we do. If you haven't watched the earlier episodes, make sure you hit that bell button so you're notified when we land another episode.
Yeah. And the really short version of Kicking Cancer is this organization was formed 7 years ago with the mission to help people not get cancer.
Yeah.
I think the big difference, and I've said this on one of our previous episodes, I appreciate the support groups. You and I were at an event just last month, massive support group out of Portland, Oregon, that supports women with breast cancer.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful, emotional day.
Yeah.
Over 300 women there that are dealing with breast cancer. Those support groups are critically important, really critically important, because unfortunately those women deal with some stuff.
It's a lonely road.
It's a lonely road.
And it's terrifying. And to have, and especially women, because women are typically the nurturers, but to have women walk alongside of you that have been there or are going through it or know the way is really powerful.
Well,
it's one of our 5 pillars.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about that group specifically, Allison Hancock is the executive director. She's a super good friend of our organization. And I've said more than once that the unfortunate reality for many women with breast cancer, which is still the number one cancer for women in the United States, is the two things that give women identity.
Yeah.
Your hair.
Yeah.
And your breast, potentially you could lose both of those. And I saw an amazing woman come out, amazing woman who had lost all of her hair and had chosen to do tattoos.
Yeah, in place of her.
In place of what should be there. And she showed us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a brave lady.
Yeah,
but
she's a warrior.
She's a warrior. So those support groups are critically important, and we love Breast Friends. But Kicking Cancer was formed to proactively prevent. And this show specifically, for the viewers that are out there, Mikki and I are determined to help you connect the dots on some things that you may not even realize that are going on.
On that note, last episode, we talked about xenoestrogen and one of the chemicals in plastics, specifically plastic bottles. We didn't touch on breast cancer at all with that.
No.
So the endocrine disruptors
really hard last time.
Yeah, but the endocrine disruptors, the xenoestrogen that's found in plastic, is one of the biggest culprits of male and female cancers. So prostate cancer, breast cancer, uterine cancer, really direct hit from the xenoestrogens and all of the garbage found in plastic. So I just kind of wanted to bring that back home.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense when you realize that it's a disruptor.
Right.
So for the guys, you're getting estrogen that you don't normally get. For the women, it's disrupting the estrogen.
Right.
And
well, we need testosterone too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for both of us. So that was the last one.
Now, when you think about it's a disruptor, which puts you in imbalance, which if you think of the word, the very name, dis-ease, your body's out of ease, meaning it's out of balance. So the less disrupting you can do, the better.
And I'm going to throw a phrase out, and we'll touch on this in a future episode, but I think one of the objectives that we're trying to help people understand is that your body should be in a state of what's called homeostasis. And we are completely out of homeostasis as a society. And really what that means is that your body should be balanced the way that God made it to be balanced, and it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this book is one of my favorites. And my theme song since I had cancer, it was adapted from Dr. Schultz, who said, get good things into the cells, get bad things out of the cells, and stop doing the bad things.
Stop doing the bad things.
So we're going to talk about some of those bad things, and I'm not going to like this one.
Well, I did preface you for what we're going to talk about. So this chapter in Chris's book, we will love. It's called "Take Out the Trash."
Take out the trash.
That's the title.
Get the bad stuff out.
Yep. In fact, the little quote at the start of it says garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different garbage he talks about, so I want to hit on one specifically. And this
You're going to hit us in the
subsection-
face this time.
Yeah, nice little pun there, Mikki. This was actually called Toxic Beauty. And I do want to read this directly. Once again, this is Chris Beat Cancer. If you go to kickingcancer.org under resources, we have this book listed. It's one of them we really advocate for. It's one of my personal goals to get Chris work on my radio show down in Salem.
Yeah.
But what he says in here is your skin absorbs what you put on it. Chemicals from creams, lotions, potions, oils, makeup, nail polish, deodorants, and other body care products are absorbed into your bloodstream through your skin. As you said, our biggest organ. And these chemicals circulate throughout your entire body. Unlike the food industry, which is controlled by the FDA, the skincare industry is largely unregulated. Here's a couple of examples of what happens when you, as a person, I don't want government regulating everything, but you've got to have some degree of regulation, right? And this is what happens when there is no control of regulation. Mascara has traces of mercury. Lipstick has traces of lead. Talcum powder has been associated with ovarian cancer. According to a study conducted by the Organic Consumers Association, traces of suspected carcinogens 1-4, which is some title they put on it, were found in almost, you ready? Half of personal care products tested. So this organization, the Organic Consumers Association, they do testing, and they found one specific carcinogen. This is the 1.4- whatever, but what they were looking for, they found that in half of personal care products tested, even though it is typically not listed on the label.
Not listed on the label.
So if you were to go to
That's disturbing because I've tried really hard to, have natural mineral powder for my face and natural mascara that isn't full of, but it's not even on the label.
So I know you well enough that you're going to go look at the products to go, what am I putting on my face?
Yep.
And so you don't even realize this is in there because it's not listed on the label.
Fantastic.
I know. Yeah, like you said, we're going to hit you in the face on this one.
I knew I wasn't going to like this one.
I knew.
Because like any woman, I'm vain and, I have mascara on.
Well, and I think it goes past the vain part. There are women who are vain and they go crazy with their makeup. I just think as a society, and quite honestly, what women do to be vain is being driven by men because we like pretty ladies and the makeup helps, right? And then an industry says, well, let's take advantage of the men who like the pretty ladies, and we're going to give you these products to make you pretty. But if they don't even tell you what's in the product,
yeah, that's not fair.
It doesn't help you.
Like, how do you fight that battle?
It doesn't help you that you don't even know what's in there. So he goes on to say that this includes, so this particular thing they were testing for, this includes bath products, shower gels, lotions, hand soaps, aluminum salts, and antiperspirants, which interfere with estrogen receptors. Okay, so we talked about that a little bit ago, right? So they put aluminum salts in the antiperspirants, which go under your armpits, and they interfere with estrogen receptors, have been linked to potential contributors for breast cancer. They're not helping us, Mikki.
Never said they were.
No.
Yeah, so.
No.
Yeah.
Well, he does talk about a couple of chemicals, and I'm not going to get into all of them for lack of time, but
can't pronounce most of them anyway.
Some of them I can't pronounce, and I really don't want to slaughter them. But there is one of them, and the acronym is a BHA, is a suspected human carcinogen found in food packaging, and personal care products sold in the United States, except the European Union, which is basically all of Europe.
It's not allowed there.
Considers it unsafe, and they banned it. That one specifically affects your thyroid. Okay, there's another one. This one I can't pronounce. It's coal tar and other coal tar ingredients.
Is that what I think it is?
It is coal that you use for heating.
Okay.
And once you burn it long enough, then it creates tar. Okay. Guess where they put the black tar?
I'm not sure. I want to know.
It's used in hair dyes.
Okay. I'm safe.
So if somebody wanted black hair, but they have brown hair, the color they use to create the black for the hair dyes is coal tar.
Tar.
Yes.
Okay.
That one, the Europe has banned the use of many of the coal tar ingredients in hair dyes. Europe says it's dangerous. It's not regulated here, so it's in the hair dyes. But here's the one I really want to have a conversation about, Mikki, because the one thing I do know for the listeners that have been following us for a while, if you haven't figured out that both Mikki and I are a little passionate about these subjects, we want to bring one to light. And this is a word that many people will recognize. It's called formaldehyde.
Okay.
Do you know what formaldehyde is typically used for?
Yeah, they embalm dead bodies in that so that they look good by the time they get to the funeral.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if someone has passed away...
Embalming fluid.
Yes. If you've passed away and any time goes along, the body begins to decay. And you don't want to go to, Grandma Mildred's funeral and she smells bad and the skin is... So they put
Sorry, Grandma Mildred.
They put formaldehyde in your body to preserve the body long enough for the funeral. That's what formaldehyde is used for, typically used for. Except...
It's in face cream. Is that what you're saying?
What the book says, once again, Chris Work's book, formaldehyde is a preservative and a known human carcinogen, except formaldehyde releasers are widely used in U.S. products. Not surprisingly, more Americans developed contact allergies from these ingredients than the Europeans do because the Europeans don't use it. Right?
Yeah.
But here's the one that just really scares me. In the late 70s, they were trying to figure out what you could use to substitute sugar in soda pops, okay? They were doing a pretty aggressive study with this new thing called aspartame. And in the late 70s, they said, wait a minute, they were finding evidence of tumors in the brains of rodents that were taking the aspartame. And they said, you can't take aspartame to human testing because we've already seen what it's doing to the rodents. In 1983, we started putting aspartame in Diet Pepsi. So for 40 years, we have been consuming aspartame as a substitute to sugar.
So if you're dying for a Diet Pepsi...
We just take the T off.
For real.
It's dye.
You're dying
You're
for
dying.
that.
Except what... So for one thing, the aspartame specifically has been linked to brain tumors. There is a lady, and we'll do a whole new show about this topic, and this is a connect the dot that's going to piss you off too. There's a lady back in Washington, D.C. that's done a ton of research on aspartame specifically, and she has found numerous tumors in women's breasts. So aspartame is being linked to breast cancer as well.
Does he talk about how aspartame was actually the origination of it? They were developing it for ulcer medication.
Well, he doesn't bring it up in here, but it doesn't surprise me. Now, this lady went to one of those rallies in D.C., and it was, I'm not going to point fingers at anybody, but it was a very large rally in support of women with breast cancer with documented evidence of how aspartame is direct link, and the organizer looked right at her and they said, you need to leave. And she said, are you here to help these women stop getting breast cancer, or are you here to make money? They said, we're here to make money.
And you need to leave.
And you need to leave.
I mean, doesn't that say it all?
That says it all right there.
Yeah.
Except let's take aspartame one more level. So we now have evidence from the late 70s of brain tumors. We have evidence in the 2010s, somewhere in that region, where this lady has the breast tumors. Except, do you know what aspartame does once you digest it?
No.
You're not going to like this.
I'm not going to like this. I mean, I won't drink it, but...
Well, I'm going to go back to Chris Work's book. Also, the artificial sweetener aspartame breaks down in your body and becomes formaldehyde.
Okay.
So once you drink a Diet Pepsi and you avoid getting the breast cancer or the brain tumor, now the aspartame is in your system and it converts into formaldehyde, so it preserves your body until you die. I mean, so I know you have a ton of thoughts.
Well, like the whole point of aspartame is to trick your body because we're addicted to sugar, and so it tastes sweet, and so we're trying to trick the system because we want what we want, And so we're finding a way around it, but the way around it is poison, and it doesn't even work because it doesn't bypass your brain. It just makes your brain want the actual sugar. So you keep craving it. So you're craving the very thing that's creating formaldehyde in your stomach.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, when we started, you said you weren't going to like what I was going to talk about.
Well, pick your poison.
Pick your poison.
Right. So we're talking about makeup.
Right now, you mean that literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively. So I'm very intentional. Like, I don't put fragrance on my body. I use essential oil. I don't use deodorant unless it's all natural. My shampoo is very natural. I do my makeup as naturally as possible. But now you're telling me that there's a lot of things on.
Well, it doesn't help if they're not putting the chemicals in there.
Right. That I didn't know. No. And how do you even connect those dots when they're invisible?
If it's not regulated,
right,
and they don't have to put it on there,
right,
and you are actively taking your power back, as you've said so many times. And now they're not even helping you at all because you didn't know what's in there.
Well, it concerns me that there's a lot of companies that you can buy directly from the manufacturer now. Like say on Temu, for example. I saw a lipstick on there that looked like it was pure metal. And I'm thinking, is that regulated at all? Because is that bypassing some of the lousy regulations that we barely have anyway? Mm-hmm. There's so much coming over that we just have no control over. Yeah. And I don't even know where to start with that.
Well, here's the last one I want to bring up. And again, there's several more inside the book. Again, I would encourage you to go to the book. Some of them I'm not going to get into because I don't want to mispronounce the chemical. But then for sake of time, I'm just going to hit on one more of them, and it's fragrances.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what he does say is fragrances is the generic catch-all term used to avoid disclosing secret ingredients to your competitors. So if I have a company here and I'm making a fragrance, mm-hmm. I don't want you to know what I'm putting in mine so that you will not steal my ingredients.
Because it's proprietary.
Proprietary. Mm-hmm. But it is also a way to hide potentially toxic ingredients.
When you think about it, the olfactory system, your nose, direct line to your brain. So whatever you're smelling is not just going into your lungs, but it's going into your brain.
Well, and smell triggers so many emotions.
Right.
I mean, even at my age, there is a girl that I remember dating clear back in high school. And if I get anywhere near the fragrance Charlie, which is a really cheap fragrance, but when I smell it, immediately my brain remembers these dates I went on 40 years ago, 50 years ago, right? Yeah. So the fragrances are related to what they do with your brain. But what it does say in here is that federal law doesn't require companies to list any of the chemicals in their fragrance mixture on their product labels.
Wow.
So for someone like you, who is taking their power back, who is trying their best to control what they can control, mm-hmm. but you can't control if you don't know about it.
No. So for the most part, just say no. But essential oils are amazing if they're good essential oils that don't have a bunch of chemicals in them. There's a couple of brands. I'm not going to name the brands because I don't sell them. But to have pure therapeutic grade essential oil that comes from a plant, like, that's recognizable by your body. Your body knows that's powerful medicine.
Yeah.
Powerful medicine can be powerful poison, right? If there's chemicals involved that your brain, oh, well, that's lemon. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a Trojan.
Yeah.
So
here's the last thing that Chris has to say about fragrances.
I mean, we're just talking about on the body. We're not even talking about in the home because that's a whole other podcast. We're going to have to talk about the big dirty on the cleaning products. We'll
do a teaser on that one.
Okay.
Okay. But this is just on the body. Toxic beauty is the name of this little subsection. A recent research from the EWG, I'm not sure what that is, but it was a campaign for safe cosmetics. They found an average of 14 chemicals in 17 name brand fragrance products, none of them listed on the label.
Wow.
So they went to this group, Campaign for Safe Cosmetics, went to 17 name brand fragrance products, and they found 14 chemicals that were not listed on the. So it's not helping someone like yourself who's taking your power back and actually reading the ingredient list, but if they weren't on there, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Kind of crazy. Just say no.
So for those that have been following us for a little while, this is called Connect the Dots with Mikki and Barrett, and this is one of the dots I thought we should connect today.
I don't know if he quotes it in this book, but I read, and I don't remember the exact number, but thousands of chemicals get put on specifically women, but even men, our body when we're getting ready in the morning. Like if you think about it, there's chemicals in the toothpaste and the shampoo and the shower products, and then there's makeup, and then there's deodorant, and then there's spray, and then by the time you get out the door.
Here, but if I made a quick phone call to Brenda, she would know that. She knows that number.
Yeah, I love that about her.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I do want, and this is just going to be a teaser because we don't have time to get deeply into this. Mm-hmm. But so once again, go to kicking-cancer.org. Please donate to help us keep this thing moving forward. Find us on YouTube, please subscribe, and then follow us because we've got so many more dots we're going to connect for you. There is not time. We're going to get a signal here for a minute from our producer telling us we're going to have to stop talking. But I do want to bring to light something. And then I encourage you to catch one of the future shows because we will talk about this one. In 2018, there was a study done in Norway that found that women who reported using cleaning products, now we're talking about, like clean your house products,
right.
Okay? At least once per week in their house, or they had a professional cleaning business for 20 years, had substantial lung damage equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes per day.
Wow.
20. I've never smoked. It's just something I haven't done. But even if I did smoke, it's hard to imagine smoking 20 cigarettes a day.
How long does it take to smoke a cigarette? 10 minutes? Is that about the smoke break?
I mean, I would imagine if you smoke 20 cigarettes a day, that's a chain smoker.
I would think so.
So
it's been a lot of years since I smoked.
And I'm going to do some research on this one. This will be a really good connect the dots. But what they're saying in this study is also already 6-7 years old, that women who had a cleaning once per week, it did the same damage to the lungs as 20 cigarettes per day compared to women who didn't clean their house. Now, I'm not advocating. I am not advocating for not cleaning their house.
No, but there's natural cleaning products, and there's recipes for essential oils where you can make your own. There's ways around the toxins, which is part of our message, take your power back. Like, does everybody have time to make their own cleaning products? Maybe, maybe not. But are all of those chemicals really necessary to clean your house? Not really.
Well, and for those that listen to either our first or second podcast, I run the community out of Salem. You run the one here in Vancouver. We are developing out what we call go-to teams, which is how you can go to find information. Mm-hmm. So if you're anywhere in the Vancouver, Washington area, get a hold of Mikki. There's a definitely go-to teams here in Vancouver that can help you with these cleaning situations, right?
Yeah, we got a gal.
Got a gal.
Really good. Of course I do. Really good friend of mine, and she has a cleaning company, several cleaning companies, crews, and they actually make all their own cleaning products. Yeah. So they're not putting chemicals in your house. And she started it because she didn't want her girls getting sick that were cleaning houses for her. So very adamant about what they're cleaning houses with. So if you search out natural things, you can find them. It's a little more work. Unfortunately, it's probably more expensive, but choose your expensive.
Yeah.
Because getting sick, really expensive. And a lot of times we're putting toxins and poisons in our body without even knowing it, without thinking about it. We're just doing what our mom did, what our grandma did, and
well, here's my teaser for the next episode because the producer has given us the little signals right now. This food for thought. If you look at McDonald's, which is everywhere these days, okay. If you look at McDonald's, and you talk about what does it cost to have the building and the lights and the employees and the equipment? And then how do they really honestly make $1 hamburger? I owned a restaurant for years.
Volume?
My concern is not so much, it's what's in that $1 hamburger. And am I going to pay a little bit more for better food? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it less expensive? Sure. But what are you sacrificing to get less expensive? And I think we're going to have a whole nother show about the true cost of things.
Yep.
And there's our timer.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Baron. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel for more information. Hit that bell so you're reminded when we come out with a new episode, and join us next time to connect the dots. I'm Mikki.
This is Baron. Thanks for showing up.